Welcome to the bonfire, everyone. Here is Andy. Today is February the 1st, year 2021, and I'm here today to present you the new game that I'm playing, that I've been playing for a while already. I think I have 55 hours on my Steam account, called Surviving the Aftermath. This one is a majestic post-apocalyptic survival strategy, which I've been enjoying immensely. And I would say even that this has become one of my most favorite games ever. One of the best experiences I've had with strategic games, something of Tropico 4 sort. For me, I mean, I love Tropico 4 exactly, and this one is different setting, but still, it's incredible. The game is actually early access, so that means that we meet occasional bugs and glitches and some things don't work properly. But even at that stage, I have to say that I'm deeply thankful to the developers and the publisher for delivering this masterpiece. And I think the first thing that got me was the visuals, the colors of the, presentation material, this violet and purple and red, and the warmth of colors when you enter the first screen, the one that you're looking at now. And this palette, the vibrance and the coziness of everything. I don't know, this just hits me so deeply, so I don't know. I feel immediately related to this world. It's like if I were to draw something, and if I were to choose some colors for my drawing, that is exactly what I would imagine as the best possible composition. And look at how cozily these houses are settled here, among the destruction and the aftermath of the post-apocalyptic disaster. And we see some debris, the crumpled and destroyed buildings, and the abandoned factories, and rusty cars and barriers, and at the same time the nature is still alive, and alive in both senses. It's alive as it looks alive thanks to the visual quality, and it's alive meaning that human world has almost perished, but Mother Nature is still flourishing even in these circumstances. And I think I also love that if you progress to the new game setup, you will see another bunch of extremely stylish design, and let's actually do that. So we press the new game, and the game suggests that I choose between two options: to show tutorial messages and to disable them. I'm gonna disable them, not to distract us too much, because as I said, I've spent 55 hours in this game and I kind of know what's happening. I've also been taking part in the discussions about the game on its page on Steam, and there are like some patch notes, and patch number 3 was released just a couple of days ago, changing some major and minor things. And not all of the changes were actually what I would approve of, especially the system of the battle now, but let's talk about it later. Overall, some bugs were fixed and the game has become more playable. At the same time, we're not completely protected from occasional malfunctions of the algorithm. So if this happens, I'm just going to restart and play again, especially if they release a new patch, because, well, I think new patches don't work with old saves. At least it's not safe, and we might spend like 200 days in the game, which, in-game days, which equals roughly like 2-3 days of playtime in real life, and then discover that something is going wrong with your save file, and, well, that's quite an embarrassment, quite a disappointment, you can imagine. So we'll just start over if there is a new patch. And why I'm anyway deciding to play this game, even though it's early access, is because I'm absolutely, well, enchanted by this one, and I would love to share my experience. I do enjoy playing it even alone, but as an experience, it can multiply its pleasure by sharing it. So let's begin. You see, there are several stages about the game setup, and the first one is environment, and we can see here there are only few who remember the spark that started it all. A chain reaction of global catastrophes wiped out most of the planet's population and made people turn against each other. Those who are left must now survive the aftermath in the post-apocalyptic world. So we can choose cities are demolished, but nature prevailed. The world is desolate and unforgiven, and the planet is a barren wasteland. Now here I want to apologize to the viewers and say that if it concerns economic or city building strategies, I prefer to play, well, moderate or benevolent conditions, with moderate or benevolent conditions. That is because strategic games for me are relaxation. That's where I peacefully try to build a safe haven for people, imaginary people of course, but still I'm trying to ensure that nobody gets hurt or injured or unhappy, and everyone has a role to play in building the new community. That means that if something happens to my population who I'm responsible for, I get very disappointed, I get very upset, and that massively spoils my content with the game. Well, that's why I'll go with, you would call it, easy options, and I know that's not the most hardcore plan that you could expect from a streamer, but I know there are plenty of streamers who prefer the hardcore stuff, and they are quite comfortable with that. I mean, I don't know what they feel, what they think about it, but I just take it too personally. I become too sensitive, and I grieve over the loss of my people in the game, and the same actually reflects upon my playstyle in RPG games. I get very emotional. I load the game each time I have insulted somebody, at least if it's not a well-deserved insult, but mostly I play as a very, very kind person, and the same happens in strategic games. So I'll go with cities are demolished, but nature prevailed. Then catastrophes. In the wake of the events resulting in extreme weather conditions and other calamities became a normal part of everyday life, and here we have three options. The worst has passed, time to rebuild, still a dangerous world but will prevail, it feels like the apocalypse never ended. So from occasional to common, from common to frequent catastrophes, and contamination level you see from 20% to 60%. Now here I want to say that first, that's where I'm quite not skeptical, but it just feels a bit odd that catastrophes take place on a 10-day basis. So I think the first catastrophe strikes when you are at day 5, and then 15, and then 25, 35, and you get the drift. That is kind of, well, I'm talking about the first position, the occasional catastrophes. That feels awkward, you know, like that the world somehow has a calendar, like day 5, meteorite shower, day 15, winter, day 25, contaminated rain, and then day 35 again winter. It's well, that's cringe way to say that, but it's not realistic. But I mean, I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is contamination level, because the last time I played, something happened to my colonists, and I was at day 250 or something like that, and there was an acid rain, and a lot of my colonists were what was that? Irradiated. And I had a hospital, I had 2 medical labs, medical tents, sorry, and the hospital that was a newly built hospital wasn't actually popular, although the game claimed that it has to be more efficient. My colonies strangely almost never went there, even though there were around 70 sick people, and a lot of buildings were contaminated, and so the colony was paralyzed. Even with specialists, I couldn't manage that cleanup, so my buildings were constantly contaminated, and well, at the end of the catastrophe, I treated all my patients, and there were 13 colonists that just were standing in one place, never going anywhere. And I thought it was a glitch, so they were irradiated and they didn't want to get treatment. I suspect that there was also a glitch with massive radiation spreading throughout the city. I might be wrong, maybe it's just that that's another criticism about the patch. My instruments have broken down and people were not able to get rid of this radioactive fallout. And at the same time, I have to say that before patch number 3, instruments were quite well, durable. After the patch, they said like that was ridiculously durable, and they decreased the duration of during which you could use the instruments, and now it's hilariously small, the duration, and the whole colony works without any instruments and clothes. You might ask, like, why don't you supply them with these things? But well, maybe I'm just a bad player in this game, which is absolutely possible. I just couldn't handle the amount of resources demanded to support the colony and the actual supply. So I have questions. So it's either that I'm totally unable to play this game, or it's an issue of the balance. Let's see this time. So, resources. Some had prepared well for the upcoming apocalypse, stockpiling resources for the aftermath. Others scavenged what they could while traveling through hostile lands. The most unfortunate left the ruined cities with nothing but the clothes on their back. I think I'll go with plenty of resources, just to lighten up our beginning. Ideology. There is no survival guide for post-apocalypse like this. Different people have different ideas on how to survive, with none more right or wrong than the other. Unlocks more options to the tech tree. What kind of leader are you? I used to go with the colony builder, but then I discovered that hardy survivalist actually offered more space to my playstyle, and definitely not Wasteland Explorer, because, well, Wasteland is a strange concept in this game. Very routine, very repetitive, and not actually very fun, I have to say. So let's go with Hardy Survivalist. Gatekeeper, something I don't understand still. I fail to interpret these options, but we'll go with the first. Anyway, let me read this. Gatekeeper, life is unfair, but sometimes it feels like you're not alone. Whether it is an invisible guardian or just pure fate, but it sure feels like someone is watching over us. So, the path is challenging but worth the risk. It's a tough road to walk but never unfair, and suffering or success. I don't actually know what these are supposed to mean, and what is this paragraph? Like, what does it influence? Why these two options are the same difficulty and this one is a little bit of difficulty? I don't get it. Something is off here, or maybe again I'm just silly, but sorry. I mean, I like the words lenient and helpful, so that's my choice. Then the mechanics of specialists, that's another thing. You go with I think 4 types. It's scavenger, scout, scientist, and fighter. I'll pick 3 fighters. I'll explain why when we begin the game. Fighters have a lot of damage. Also, I think specialists were kind of broken with the 3rd patch, but I'm only complaining. So it's Makida, Scrappa, and Fritz. Continue. Visuals. I'll go with my favorite color, one of my favorites at least. Then fire, bonfire, and this one is actually our name. Bonfire. English Bonfire is my channel on Twitch, on YouTube. So, and the motto is keep the flame. That's what I saw on a trash bin in the street and took a photo of that, and that was I think an exciting motto to choose. So here we go. Let's begin the game. Pay attention to the music. I don't know yet. Don't know who the composer is, but I'm so looking forward to buying the official soundtrack album on Steam or wherever he or she publishes that, because it's such a masterpiece. The melodies here, they have 3 radio waves, I think 3. And well, the main soundtrack and everything is so cool. Let's save the game and call it beginning. Now, to those who haven't played the game, here we have a map of our camp. It has limitations. It has a fence around. I don't know how this miserable, pathetic fence can help against beasts and armored and weaponized people, especially that there are some, some breaches in the fence, but it is supposed to guard our territory. And the main entrance is here, the gate, which is still broken, but as soon as we get the colonists, they'll build it. Now, what I do usually, and that takes a while, I clear up the whole map. From beasts and check where the resources are. And that's what we're going to do now. Why this is useful is because the beasts are gonna arrive anyway, and you want to get access to the resources that are scattered around your settlement map, and if you send your colonists there, they'll be just slaughtered in no time. And specialists can also get slaughtered, because some beasts are super dangerous. For example, bear is not somebody to joke with. Majestic deers are not the ones that will attack you, but still they are... well, actually no. I think I have to... I'm not sure. You see, like, deers can probably be hostile. I don't know why, but I have this suspicion, so I just eliminate all possible threats, including mouse threat, including these mice. So each creature you kill here will leave some meat on the ground, and even though I play as a vegetarian colony, because I myself am a vegetarian, I go for only farming, but these beasts here who leave the meat on the ground, I collect it, because we kinda get it in battle, which is, well, only slightly different from growing animals specifically for slaughter. Well, that's a complex topic. I'm just, well, talking about my playstyle here. It's eliminate all possible threat before I begin the actual colony building. And you see there is some resources like planks and berries, and also concrete ruins and wooden houses. They are here to scavenge from. So you can excavate resources, you can get them from the world map, you can of course chop down trees, but there is always this easy option of just scavenging from the colony map. What else I kinda disapprove of is the clanky control. It is difficult to point your mouse at some enemies, because the cursor is kinda capricious, and you can be pressing something that you think should be the enemy, but you're actually pressing the empty field with no apparent result. That means that before you finally start fighting with the enemy, you'll get some quite painful blows. For example, from a bear or these beetles. You see, my specialist didn't engage in the battle right away. What else is interesting about fighting enemies here is that the most injured specialist will also go and tank. Something I don't understand, but it's... I don't know why they're doing this. Maybe they just want to get rid of the injured one. I hear there is some battle happening, but I don't see who with. And that might mean that there is a sandworm. Sandworm is the most dangerous beast on the map. And let me save the game. Sandworm is not something you can dispatch with only one specialist. If there are two sandworms, that's where the trouble starts. But it looks like there are no sandworms, only some beetles. Yeah, looks like that. Sometimes I spawn on a map and there are no sandworms, and once I had a map where there were 3 or 4 or 5. That was crazy. Just, well, insane, because I had to spend so much time healing my specialists, and they heal every rotation of this. You see, no, you don't see this because it's blocked by my video device. You see, there is a globe here, and there is a thin green line which indicates the specialist's turn to act. And well, each time it has like completed the cycle, specialist heal for the amount of health points, which is indicated here, recovery. So fighters I've chosen because they have obviously the biggest damage output, which helps me with dispatching all the threats from the settlement map. It's not the most exciting part of the game. There are 4 bears, so I'm going to run away because 4 bears are, well, 4 bears can send my specialists to their forefathers, let's say. And they can do that so easily, especially that if I send them like with my right click, Fritz, who is the most damaged one, is going to tank all the damage. And with my clanky controls, it's also, well, possible that he wouldn't have survived, but now we are good. So we just killed 4 bears, and let's save the game again. You see, all my specialists are kinda injured now. Now we have the wild boars, and Fritz was killed. Boars are, well, slightly weaker than bears, but still deal substantial damage and have to be treated carefully. Let's load the game. I know that is, again, not the most interesting process to be watching, but you can get the first vibe of the game. And here comes one more impression. It's that the overall visuals of the game are amazing. The vibe is super cozy, super warm. But exactly the map, the buildings and the colonists, they are kinda, well, rough. You see very sharp angles of everything, very sharp, which looks like an unpolished game. In defense of the developers, I have to again say that this is an early access game. Secondly, I'm playing with low settings, the lowest possible. Fritz, can you please survive? No, unfortunately Fritz hasn't survived another time. I apologize for another load. Yeah, so lowest graphics, early access, probably that will be much better in the end, and on a more powerful PC. My laptop is trying hard to operate this together with maintaining the stream, so I apologize for that. And also I'm expecting a bit of improvement, because you see how much the pictures are polished. They are just very soft. They're very soft and gentle even, while the foliage, for example, on trees is not gentle or polished. It's very rough, so it creates this feeling of dissonance and a bit spoils the whole impression, which is 50-50 my fault and the fact that it is early access. Let's wait until we get some more HP on our specialists. Boars are, well, quite savage. Don't let me approach them just like that. I understand, they're powerful beasts, so let's attack now. Done. Boars dispatched. One more. Okay. No more boars, I guess. Let's reach the border of the map and save the game. Have successfully survived this encounter, and the replenishment is coming. Another bear. No, Fritz. You see, he was again, I think, the most damaged one, and he exactly went tanking. I don't know why this is happening. Maybe it's the clever algorithm of the game itself that beasts will target the most wounded individual. If that is so, I find it commendable and also quite difficult. Of course, you might say that maybe you should have started this cleanup when you have 5 specialists. Yes, but I'd love to have a look at the whole map from the beginning to know where to collect the resources, where to get the, where to start my development, not where, but in what direction. Like, where are the deposits of underground treasures, and what I should focus on, and where I can collect my basic need resources like planks and concrete and berries. So that's why I'd like to reveal the whole map. Let's save the game again. I don't know why this is happening, but Fritz is probably the most suffering specialist in all my games. He just dies probably most often. Poor fella. Again, they targeted Fritz. Why? No idea. And I have to save again. I'm sure we are more than 50% in completion of the exploration. Well, feels like that. Definitely we are more than 50%, so it's around 5 more minutes and then we're done. We'll make our first steps in colony building. So some beetles. Beetles dispatched. I'm very glad that specialists don't get irradiated, or they don't suffer the calamities so much, like winter doesn't harm them. I don't know why, probably they have just super protective clothing, and they just don't get bothered by any circumstances that pose deadly threats to... Hey, fight! Wow, I almost lost my... what's her name? Makida. Makida was almost killed by the bears, but strangely she managed to escape. Now, what's also good about specialists, they don't bleed. Colonists, if they are harmed, injured, infected, irradiated, malnourished, they'll suffer continuous damage. So they'll be losing it until they're healed, or actually until they get some help, or until they bleed to death, or well, their health points will be decreasing continuously. So let's wait until Makida has some health boost. Yeah, here we go. And you see she's trying to escape. She's the only one of 3 who began moving towards the camp. I understand her concern, because I obviously try to I'm trying to put her in danger, but Tori specialist, you have to be acting in best interests of your colony. Now, again and again, she is targeted but not dying. Very, very lucky specialist. Unlike Fritz, who, as I said, has died more than anyone in this game. Well, not to mention specialists, of course. Nuclear fallout. That's the catastrophe that spoiled my previous playthrough, and spoiled it big time, because my game, as I told you, glitched, and everything was irradiated, and again, and again, and again, and no amount of cleanup, including all my 10 specialists that I had at that point, didn't help. Some peaceful music, but we know that nuclear fallout is coming, so there is little peace in that. And who was that? Another bunch of beetles, and Makida again barely survived. You see, she runs first. What makes her so confident in her survival, I have no idea. Maybe save games. Maybe that's why she's so unconcerned that she might perish. Well, if I had a save game in life, of course, I would probably act in the same way. Nuclear fallout. Well, normally I manage to finish the initial exploration of the map before the first disaster, but this time it was probably due to my Tolkien and description. It took a bit longer, but I'm kinda making it possible. Makida, stop taking damage, please. Stop that. Thank you. Guys, can you take care of your colleague? Let's save the game again. We are almost done. You see, we have reached the top border, and we almost have reached the left corner. We have reached it actually. So there are few terra incognita spots, only a few. And as far as I can judge, there is no sandworm on this map, which is very good news. And I like the music during the disasters. It's so, well, languishing. It's so wistful. I don't know. It's just like something is painfully happening to people here. So, our specialists are arriving at the campsite, the one that I'm supposed to use as the starting location. Let's save the game again. And finally, we have finished our first initial exploration, and we can have a good look at what we have here. So the pink territory is pollution. We cannot build on it. It irradiates the surroundings, so building around it is also a terrible idea, but we can get to the environmental station. Here it is. And after you build this station, people who work there can clean the territory, which is very nice. Then I hear some sounds when there is this nuclear fallout disaster that it feels like somebody is wearing a gas mask and trying to breathe. Very, very immersive. So we have, as I told you, planks and concrete ruins, and now we have a lot of meat and berries scattered around the map. We have metal, which is to be extracted through specialists, not specialists, but workers. And we have plastic. Plastic is also to be extracted through workers. Look at this beautiful pond. Very cute. Look at the stones. How nicely they're positioned there. Great job by the artist. And yeah, it just looks super cozy, like some kind of small tranquil picture land to live on. And yeah, what else? I'm waiting until the catastrophe finishes. After that, I'm about to start building the colony. What I have to consider is where I'm going to start in what direction I have to develop my settlement. What I used to do is I built it like first big square here, and then kind of right wing, left wing, top wing, and I have a hunch that this is not how it's supposed to be, because a big plenty of materials is somewhere to the top, like to the top left corner, top right corner, and the underground deposits, which are, well, extremely essential, just essential at later stages of the game. They can be found somewhere in the distance, and you have to get there somehow, and extractors, the machines that get those resources, they demand electricity. Now, if you have your electric grid here, you cannot cheaply send it somewhere there, and that is a big trouble. So let's have a look where we have the underground resources. It's quite interesting that so I see on the first day you cannot see where the underground deposits are. You can see only the scattered simple resources, which what will happen later, I think many of these simple resources will be converted into underground deposits, but not now. That happens later in the game. So we cannot plan properly yet, but we can see where they are located, and so in this direction, that's the most obvious thing to do. In this direction you have to be building streets and your settlement. And well, let's have a look. Pollution. Where is the resource? So metal is here. What I also would like to have is some kind of button to highlight the resources, because it's very difficult to spot them without this button. Like in in RPG games, you can press tab or some other key and it will highlight everything you need. In Heroes 5 it's Alt button. So plastic here. And well, it seems that I have to be stretching my colony like this here, like zigzag. Maybe here, underground rare metals. Quite a unique spot, but last time I played I got to day 250 and still it wasn't used by me. I mean, I had an automatic extractor there and I excavated a lot of what are they called, rare metals, but never got to production because, well, didn't have free hands for that. Always was able to get components by scavenging or trading, so that was waste of resources eventually, and that always got contaminated, always. And this is one thing I have to maybe consider this time. It's, sorry, I need to delete the bot message. Wonderful, hate Android chat thing. So how can I delete this message? Options, block. Yes. So why hasn't it disappeared? Twitch. I don't get it. Anyway, here we go, and let's proceed. Waiting until the fallout is, well, until it lets us go. I have to decide where to put my camp. Finding a piece of habitable land is no easy task at the end of the world, What you see before you is what is left of us and our planet. It falls to you to rebuild society with the aid of your people and the modest resources you set out with. Welcome to the Aftermath, Survivor. Start by building the campsite to mark the center of your new colony. Scout for a suitable location from the mist by moving your specialists. So the mist we have completely, as you can see, got rid of, which is great facilitation for our future development. And now we only have the campsite to build, nothing else. Everything else is blocked. Yeah, which is obvious. Campsite, I'll locate, well, can I locate it somewhere in the middle? Actually, yes, I can, but that is a disaster. That's a terrible choice to make. So let's position it somewhere, well, somewhere interesting, like, I don't know, not in the water, of course. Maybe here. Will it help us somehow? I don't think so, actually, because it's kind of the most important building on the whole map. I mean, by its message that it sends out. At the same time, it only works as a stockpile, so at the end of the day there is not much visibility, so it's only a symbolic thing. Let's locate it here. I'd like to surround it with a 3-layer road, so I think if I put it here, it probably should be cool. So here we have the campsite, and our dear specialists can now collect the resources. You see they're now shown by small icons, meat and berries and concrete and wood, planks and stuff like that. The best idea is to start from the closest ones. Why? Because later you'll have more specialists and you'll only send them to these collection missions, while your colonists will be busy with well, construction and other work, maintenance and so on. And specialists move fast, they don't eat, sleep, entertain themselves, they just do hardcore work, and they are excellent for these scavenging thing. And so we'll have enough time to collect stuff from the whole map here. I did it last time I played, and I think I'll do it this time. So we have 75 wood, 70 concrete, 65 plastic, metal 20, 30 firewood, tools and clothes, which will disappear in no time, some medicine, some food, which is canned fruit, candy bars and jerky. As I told you probably, I usually play as a vegetarian colony, so I only go for vegetables and nuts, and then bread and stuff like that. So I'll have farms, but they'll only give me milk and eggs. That's it. I won't slaughter animals. That makes it more complicated, and that's why I very often have starvation catastrophes in my colonies, where people just, well, die in packs because there is some failure in production lines. And I don't have trappers, I don't have fishermen, which might not be the best idea, I know, but principles, you know, principles. It's all about principles. So we'll have to get some building resources first. I'll start taking planks, then concrete, planks, berries. That should do us good. Colonists I'll summon when the fallout has finished, because otherwise I'm in a very bad situation. I think each time they scavenge, they get 3 pieces of something. End of the catastrophe. Now we shouldn't lose any moment, and finally we can summon our colonists. And look at the colors now, without this terrible green light. Pretty lovely, right? What's that green? I think it's some kind of glitch. So now nature is quite cheering, very green, very pink, thanks to pollution, but still. And plastic is more visible now. And, well, the remains of the slaughtered animals around the forest. Survival. So, in the version that was before patch 3, there was a small icon that was supposed to activate the shoot the flare mechanism. Now, in this patch, it was due to some reason removed. I don't know why. It was quite a lovely thing. So let's shoot the flare, and after that, colonists will start arriving. Beautiful. Very, very, well, close to how it looks in life, don't you think? The inhabitants. Prompted by the specialist signal fire, the rest of your group arrives at the prepared campsite. Despite all the hardship ahead, it's time to rebuild and turn this hostile place into a home. So here we have our first colonists, who are understandably homeless because there is nothing but the camp. Oh, look, actually there is... What the hell is that? Is it a mountain? Supposed to be a mountain? I think it is, so... But graphics is low, as I said. In my computer. Well, it's lovely. There are a lot of screenshots on Steam, on Community Hub, and I understand why, because this game has magnificent vibe. It's undeniably true, and yeah, so let's look at our colonists. Let's get acquainted with them. I never do that, but as we are in well, slow-paced playthrough, I would love to do that. So we have children, we have old people, we have just adult people, and we have in total 12 colonists. From them we have 8 adults and 4 children and no elders. But elders will also arrive. So Emily, let's look at the equipment they have also to pay attention to how fast it's going to break down. So we have Camilla, what? Where's her age? That's like adult, not without any specifics. Strange, because they get older. Workplace none, shelter none, happiness, she is not very, very happy. So, health 80 out of 80, contamination will increase as they are exposed to, well, hazardous territories. They have 5 parameters, which is malnutrition, hunger, thirst, hygiene, and temperature. Thirst is the most dangerous now, because water is already negative. We only have 300 units, and as soon as they deplete, people will start to want to drink, obviously, and then they'll very quickly perish, and here's the end of the game. So we have to build the water wells. Now, hygiene, they have these lovely outhouses which look like village toilet, and we also can build a sauna, but I wasn't impressed when I built it because it was exactly at the moment when my colony was dying to the acid rain, fallout, sorry, radioactive fallout, and didn't help at all. Like, I had 105 colonists, 70 got irradiated. Really? I don't know. Burial Pit. That's an analog to Graveyard, but with patch number 3, Graveyard was introduced into the game, which was such a marvelous introduction because Cemetery. Because I was like, I don't know, maybe it's weird, but I wanted to have a cemetery here because it looks authentic, it takes more space, it looks more natural, and kind of well, creates this image of a real settlement. The flare is still having some remains in the air. So we have Nora, child, then we have Abigail, an adult, Lee, an adult, Erica, Charlotte, child, Joseph, child, Riley, James, Emily, and Camila, and Dawn. I believe they all have different faces now, but unfortunately, the variety of faces decreases as you progress in the game, and they start being totally repetitive, and you stop paying attention to them. Which, well, can I blame designers? No, because I think it's quite an ambitious task to draw more than 100, or I don't know how many people you can get into Colony. 200 faces, that's pretty much too much, I would say. If I put my water collector into this beautiful pond, how much water will be collected? 4. That's terrible. We need a bigger place here. Still small. Oh, nice. How far is it from the colony? Very far. Terrible. But it will give us a lot of water, right? If I can position it somehow. 14 units. It's very cheap in production, while water well requires a lot of concrete, but water wells have no workers. They don't need workers, so we can just build them without any, well, penalty by workforce. And I just want to get maximum efficiency, but have a suspicion I won't get any. So let's have another nasty thing about water wells is that they have radius, you see, and you cannot build them too close to one another. And I have a perfectionist problem, like I want everything to look neat and tidy and harmonized as much as possible. And I torture myself endlessly trying to achieve this result without much success, actually. So I'll build, I think, 2. What if I cancel construction? They give you some time to kind of change your decision about demolition, which is, I think, understandable. So let's build 1 well here, 5 points from the road, which isn't actually a road, and 1 more here. What's wrong? Barren soil? Really? It's not barren. It's not. It's not that barren, actually. Very strange. So, high efficiency. It is 8 units of water, but it doesn't look neat. That's the problem. So, I'm suffering again. I'm doomed to suffer in this game. Let's build, well, like this, and cancel this one. Well, are you going to be cancelled? Hey, yes. So, another one. Probably already hate me for that I am choosing the positions for my wells for like 3 minutes. I just want to make it look beautiful. Now, the road. The road leads to our campsite, and let's have a road that will surround the campsite like this, and come on, like this. Yeah, beautiful. I won't build another 3 lines, but that's yet. Later I will definitely, to make it more beautiful. Also, without much waiting, I want to get some basic resources, and I need the stockpile to... well, do I actually need the stockpile? I do, to save the resources, but where should I have it? Well, maybe I need one, just one, somewhere here, for example. Yes, and also I need food storage, or maybe not, because food can be stored here, and I'm okay with that. But I do need a warehouse, because they cannot be kept anywhere, including, I think, the campsite, so warehouse it is. Then I need metal and plastic. A lot of metal, a lot of plastic. They are quite dynamic buildings, because well, the initial resources are quite close, but later on they get more and more distant from you. So let's have some exploration. We have metal here, metal here, metal here, and well, that is 3 so far. Anywhere else? 1, 2, 3. Remember, there is one. And one more. But people, that's another funny thing. Workers will try to walk to this spot. They'll get hungry, or they'll get dirty, and they'll drop their load and go back. That's what I observed. I don't know if it is supposed to be so, but like long distances don't work for simple folk here, and I have to take that into account. Now, you see there is, well, one close, one a bit further, and one very distant. I think I'll build it as much close as possible to our campsite, remembering that there'll be a road. So one here, and then recycler. These buildings are to be demolished later. Plastic here, and plastic here. So quite plenty of plastic. That's nice news. Plastic is very useful. Well, but honestly speaking, there is no resource that's not useful in this game. They're all very useful. A logging camp. A logging camp is vital, and the further in the game, the more vital it becomes. Why so? It's because first, during the winter, you have to burn wood to get warm. Second, it's the kitchen. Kitchen consumes a lot of wood. And then you get a bakery, it also consumes wood, so to the point where firewood becomes one of the most important resources to run the colony. I'd like to build it somewhere closer to the forest. For example, here. Yes, I think it's exactly where I want to construct it. But I'll pause it. I don't need it right now. I can finish it a bit later. Then I want to have an outhouse because it will, well, my colonists are gonna wash themselves. They have to do that, otherwise they just get contaminated. Outhouse has to be distant from other constructions because it creates pollution, a lot of pollution actually, so we need to take heed of that. Let's say, what's this? Warehouse. Okay, warehouse cannot get contaminated, so I think it cannot. Don't remember for sure. So we can build a outhouse here and here, but one is paused, another is supposed to be finished. Let's get a road. Road is unfortunately the longest thing to build in this game because only free from other tasks colonists will do that, and they will do it so slowly, terribly slowly. So cannot enjoy that, but have to deal with that, have to swallow that. Medical tent, something which is of vital importance to your survival, and you'd better have it as soon as possible because colonists can get injured, irradiated, many things can happen, sorry, but you cannot build the medical tent just in no time. So by the moment it's constructed, there is a high chance that your colonist is already dead. So I'm trying to figure out what my plan for the road was. So it's like 3 here, and that means that I have to build it here, like to ensure that there is a double road going. So it's like that, it's like that, and like that. Yes. The first priority is to the scrapper and recycler. Then I need medical tent, which is medium priority. Actually, no, low. Yes, I'll explain it now. Low, then medium, and finally high and high. Because without water, what the hell? I've misplaced this one again. Is it so? Yes, it is so. Terrible. It's terrible. I have to correct it immediately. Why is it not disappearing? Cancel construction. Cancel. What the hell is that? Sometimes the control is quite clunky. Well, it was to be placed 6 units from the road, from the to-be road, and now it feels like it's positioned beautifully. Right. Okay. And it has to be prioritized over everything else, because if it is not, then my colonists are to perish. So let's look at what's happening now. Colonists who are homeless will be, well, trying to build everything that's been ordered, but this icon, which is quite irritating, will be telling us that, well, they're homeless, please help them. Not now. I've learned that they can survive without homes for quite a while, so I'll give it to them later and send my specialist to loot another storage of planks. Another thing that disappeared after patch 3 is that specialists cannot now help with construction unless there are all the resources necessary. How would you rate the game's visuals and audio so far? It's excellent. I mean, for the early access, it's definitely excellent, especially the music and the whole like menu style and the visuals and the coziness of the atmosphere. So let's take a meditative look at what's happening here. So there is a bonfire burning, there is some torch with a barrel, there is our symbol, the bonfire. Scrapper is being built. Look how detailed it is. The planks, the materials, and you see the construction is completed by slowly colorizing the building. From fully transparent, it just goes fully corporeal. That's very interesting. Now, our scrapper is almost complete. Scrapper is complete, and we can assign 2 people to scavenge metal. And I will, because metal is very, very necessary to us. So here we just move the work area. That's the mechanism, how it works here. And here we go. Collection began. The only question I have is, why was this finished before the second well? Well, interesting logic of my colonists that medium is higher than high. Maybe it's because it is more distant and they just managed to complete both of them. That's my my guess. Actually, I misclicked here. Should we build some home for our colonists? Water shortage. Yeah, it's very dangerous. I know. I'd love to know if... Wait, my specialists are idle. Go back to work, collect concrete. I would like to know if the mood is important. Let's check, maybe there is some information about that. Shelter, food, malnutrition, bandits, trade, soil types, hygiene, resources, domestic animals, heat wave, exploration. Okay, build a shelter. All homeless colonists have an icon. Dangerous conditions. Will sleep on the ground when necessary. Having enough shelters for everyone is a top priority. Tents and houses not only improve their happiness, but also shield them from the elements. Without a bed to sleep on, colonists will work less efficiently. They can also get sick, requiring medical attention. Aha! Now, how can I get to H? Happiness. Where is this? Where is this section? I don't see it. Is it that I'm blind? Temperature. Okay, let's go again. Exploration. Your colonists. No, I don't see that. Injuries and other conditions. Maybe this one. Antibiotics. Outhouses. Desperate. Right. So I don't see any happiness description. Okay. So the game told us that people who have a bed, they work more efficiently. That is enough for me to know. And that means that I have to supply them with some shelter. But I'll give them not tents, I'll give them emergency shelters, I think. They're more efficient in terms of resources spending. And after that, I'll just build something more decent later in the game. So shelters will be located here. It's camp 1, camp 2. And that will be enough for 12 people. The road is almost complete, by the way. Quite decent work by my guys. So let's set low priority to the buildings. This one should be medium now, because I've finished other things. Specialists are busy with supplying me with concrete. Now my dear guys are excavating some plastic. Let's look how they work. So she's now excavating. There is no indication of how long it takes, unfortunately. Okay, so they have a container. After they have this container, and look, equipment is on 92% of condition after, well, first visit to the plastic pile. So they have brought it to the recycler and they began. So production is automatic. Interesting. What are they doing? What's that? So interesting. No, she's sleeping on the ground. It's pretty random. So their task is to take the resources to the place, which later becomes automatic and starts processing the retrieved plastic. Another thing I don't understand is why sometimes I cannot use my mouse to scroll around the map. It usually happens after I click on something and then the mouse goes disabled. I have to use my WASD keys to move around the map. I cannot complain about that because my left hand is always on the keyboard, but still it's kinda clunky again. Not very enjoyable. Now my specialists are collecting berries to supply us with precious food. The next thing I'm gonna do is build the gate. The gate gives protection. The gate gives a chance to go out and explore the map, which is another big part of the game. And on the world map we get science points. Science points are vital, because without science points we cannot make discoveries. Without discoveries we are doomed to perish with our basic tools and basic things around. So yeah, that's no way to build a colony without science, and the gate is an absolute necessity to have. The medical tent is complete and the person who is ill is now inside and taking some medication. What does it say? I cannot read, but looks quite nice, right? Idling. No, it's not idling. It's not idling. It's treating patients. What the hell? Maybe it's because the person who is responsible for the medical care is taking plastic to the toilet. I don't know. So how is it supposed to work? I haven't paid attention to processes in the game I just played, so now I'm also exploring what's happening. Right, so the person have arrived, the worker has arrived, and the treatment has begun. What are they doing? Working. Interesting way of working. He went to the box to collect some medication from there, I would say. How would you rate colony building in the game so far? That's excellent. I'm enjoying the process. I like the result. What's he doing? What's there? Another box. He's tinkering with some wires, I imagine. Maybe it's some kind of supply of water or electricity. Treatment is super slow. But that's because we don't have any inventions, discoveries made towards the facilitation of the treatment, and there are some. Berries have depleted. Okay, our 3 specialists are doing amazing job with collecting resources for us, so we have some food now. We have, well, not much concrete, not much wood. That means off you go to collect some more. If I had maybe 5 or 10 specialists, that of course would be much more pleasant, but you have to be humble and not ask for more, and the most difficult thing when I play games, to enjoy the process. I'm also thinking about constructing another water well. Another 2, I would say, just because I know that very soon, more colonists are to arrive. My water consumption will skyrocket as population grows, and let's pay attention to that. The gate is more important. I'm fighting with my urge to speed up the game a little, but that is the wrong way to enjoy things. Let's also ensure that our square, main square, is outlined at least. That's how it will look when they finish with road building. Also this one here has to be constructed, yeah, and let's outline this one too. Double road for most buildings, but only but triple road for main areas. Also some like residential blocks always get double road or triple road, like, you know, some kind of resemblance of the square, the main squares in cities. Now, where is my... there are 2 specialists there, okay. The gate is slowly being constructed, then have the medical tent, we have the outhouse, stockpile. I'd love to engage my people with collecting resources, but they do it so slowly, they do it so... well, I don't know. They do it exactly not well, and I'd rather they construct the road, because the road means they move around the colony faster. It also looks more, well, neat, you know, and yeah, overall leaves much better impression and results. So do they leave it at the door if it is already being processed? Wait, it hasn't finished. Is it automatic or not? I don't understand. No, I think she's delivering manually. I need to track the process because I have to understand how he's sleeping. I'm so sorry. On the ground. So that's 33%. Maybe metal shop is operating. Yeah, so look, that's now 0%. Maybe there are some boxes in front of the building. No, there aren't any. Okay, so they take... This person is taking metal to the scrapper. Now the production has begun. And there is a box of metal, I imagine. That was 3. But how did it happen? I don't understand. Maybe they take it from inside the building. It doesn't stay outside. Well, that makes sense, because if resources are outside the buildings, they get spoiled. Yeah, so now we're almost finished. 95, 7, 99, 100%. I would prefer the... well, that the building displays that there is some plastic inside. Maybe it's because of my low graphic settings. Why are specialists idle? Go work, you lazy idiots. So maybe it's displayed, but I just cannot see it because of low graphics. I would imagine that's the reason. About my gate. Now you see the workers are either sleeping or... I don't know what they're doing actually. Something. They're doing something. They, for example, service buildings which have low priority. That's very typical for them. My nice people, what are they doing? Caring. What's that? Well. The weather in the aftermath is unpredictable, but these clouds seem to have appeared out of nowhere. Dark droplets hissing on every surface they strike start pouring down. Acid rain, everybody take cover, you shout, and huddle everyone under something protective. Someone quickly points out the water well's faucet has been left open, meaning the water inside might get infected. Wait until the worst has passed. Create makeshift armor and risk it. Well, let's use makeshift armor option. One of the bravest colonists, equipped with every protective layer you had to offer, dashes into the downpour to secure the well. They run back and brush off the cheers as if it was nothing, but this act of heroism has lifted everybody's spirits. Done, +5 happiness. Well, taking into account that +5 happiness, that's per person. Now I start to understand. Okay. That is something, but still not much. So, what's happening now? I forgot to check the plastic thing. So, what are you doing? Yeah, the box with plastic to be carried back to the camp site. Now I should get more plastic. Yeah, 3 points. Well, I think I understand how it works. Another thing I'd like to explore is how fast they get, well, dirty, hungry and stuff like that, but we'll have to literally watch one person throughout the day, which I think is one option, because the game is mostly slow-paced. It takes its time in all actions, not hasty at all. Do I want a tailor and a tool shop? I think I do, because last time I played, I, well, exactly failed with this option. I mean, I probably made a mistake that haven't built anything of this sort, and that doomed me big time. But where I'm going to build this? Well, there is, okay, 1, 2, 3, Maybe here. Yeah, that looks like a good location. 1, 2. Right? And tool shop has to be, well, somewhere here. Do they create pollution? And where does it say that it creates pollution? I don't remember. Let's send our specialists on another mission. Collect wood, please. No, collect berries, because they're blocking my path of construction. So where does it say that it creates pollution? I don't remember. Maybe, yeah, causes pollution. You see, they have this line. So that means that tailor and tool shop, they do not create pollution. At least that's what we are hoping for. Meaning they are to be ordered for construction. And you see this plastic is obstructing our plans, but not for a long time, because this pile here is going to be depleted very soon. Have a hunch that this might become an underground deposit, but maybe not. Maybe it will just disappear. We'll see. So you see, people are really taking time in construction. That's one problem, because many of them are busy with work. What we can do is free up one person from the medical tent, because nobody is ill. Wow. Taylor is already like fully equipped with construction materials, which is good news, but still this water well is not, and the gate is not. Colonists are prioritizing very strangely sometimes. I don't know. Maybe they think that they need clothes, they need tools, which is understandable. They do need. I agree, but not as hastily, I would say. Shelters. I only built one line of the road here because this is very temporary. I'm not going to leave my colonists in emergency shelters. That's just exactly an emergency shelter, nothing more. Also, people don't reproduce in such places. Which makes me think maybe I should... No, it's fine. What's this? What is this element, I wonder? Somebody is in the outhouse being washed, or he's washing himself or herself. Abigail, washing up. Okay, sorry lady. Shouldn't do that. Berries depleted. More food is incoming. You see, our colonists have eaten everything, almost everything they brought with themselves. Now they are only consuming the berries and some canned fruit. I wonder how consumption works, because, well, if I can guess correctly, that's like one adult eats one piece of food, one child eats half the piece, then it is 10 consumption. It's quite logical. The gate is almost supplied with resources, while the tool shop is being finished. what the hell is this logic? I read this comment on, I think on Steam feedback or somewhere, that colonists will prioritize what they think is important, not what you think is important, which is, well, at times it's quite disturbing, and in no way am I going to let this building spend my metal now, because instruments I have, metal I almost don't, so let's send this building into inactive status for now. Recipe can be only basic tools without any options, because we have to upgrade the building to get advanced tools and durable and superior tools. The same with the clothes. We'll only get basic clothing option. Yeah. So, what about the gate? The gate is still not finished, but colonists are gladly building the roads, which I cannot complain about whatsoever, because roads are, well, as I told you, important for the overall agility and swiftness of my colonists. It's the first time I'm playing this game with such, how to say, not sluggish, but just very well paced, very slowly. I usually click double speed or triple speed and just rush my playthrough till day 100, 200. Of course, getting overly stressed and frustrated with mistakes that are made because of hasty clicking and not being able to react to events as they unfold in front of me one by one. So maybe it's, well, as I told you, the game is so meditative, it's so beautiful, it's so charming, that probably playing it as I used to, like hastily and hurriedly, is a crime, because you're supposed to be enjoying it. What's the mission? Man before us. Colonists come to you after having found something extraordinary from the nearby forest. Beautiful relic, sparkling gold in the light. It has 2 shiny rocks as eyes, so luminous you can make out your own reflection. The colonists are convinced that this is a sign of good fortune, and they want to have a ceremony in its honor. Oh, well, if I were to decide in this situation, probably would ask them to melt this statue down, because it's not very conducive to being a rational community to create idols. At the same time, Carl Jung said that each community, each, well, portion of human civilization will inevitably become religious, as it's kind of interwoven into our nature. We cannot escape that, and that has been evolutionary encoded into our subconsciousness. At least currently it's still there. So it's not that people create religion to control somebody, it's just that they just create religion. It's not controllable, it's the evolutionary aftermath. At the same time, someday it has to end, has to, well, evolve into something more decent, right? So I'll melt the statue down, because I suspect that this will give us happiness boost. This will give us resources. I was right. Strange deity figure in the colony is bound to bring nothing but harm. Yes. You decide resources are a lot more useful at this time. To your surprise, the idol doesn't melt down to gold, but instead the foul smell of the burning paint and plastic fills the air. While subjected to some wild stares, you hope the powers your colonists believed in were nothing but figments of imagination. What are you talking about? Mad? Declined request -36. Of course declined. What are you talking about? Freaking cultists. Well, that was quite an offensive statement. I have to restrain myself. Look, Taylor is being finished. Oh, the gate is still... Okay, glad to see that. Water well, though, is not. And this one is not. I don't know why. What is this logic? I have no idea. Strange colonists. Berries depleted. That means that you have to collect other berries. Isn't it obvious, dear specialists? Now, more food and back to business. Oh, it's actually night. Look how beautiful it is. Night. Very, again, I think that will be the top word for this game on my streams. It's cozy. It's always freaking cozy. The cicadas sound like in August in my city. The night around, the sky is visible, the stars are visible, you see, the stars are visible. And Taylor is completed, but let's fire him immediately because I don't need clothes yet. I'll send him back when my wall and my gate is finished, my water wells are finished. Now this is Majestic Deer. I remember I told you that I get very anxious about any animals on this map because I have a suspicion they can attack my colonists. Meaning the deers, unfortunately, are to be dispatched. Go, specialists, go. Survivors. The first pack of survivors. Here we go. We have Bishop. I'm going to screenshot that and send to one person because his nickname is Bishop. Oh, not print screen, but F12. He is a former combat medic who left the war zone behind but couldn't escape it. Emergency operations in a tent turned into running an underground clinic for the poor and homeless. This has given him the skills to treat others in less than ideal conditions with improvised tools and supplies. So, scientist is very nice to get because he gets a bonus to scientific boost on the global map. So for now, let's see. Wow, that's quite a delegation. Feel like this is just prolonging the inevitable. We need plans to build ships and set sail across the sea. Can't be like this everywhere. 7 adults, great, very very nice. Only one child, no elders again. Not that I'm disrespectful towards elders, just that for the colony it's nice to have adults. They don't age so fast and they don't perish, pass away after a couple of days. So they kind of contribute a lot. So of course I'm going to accept, but before that they have jerky, basic tools, canned fruit planks and medicine. Very, very nice boost. Except sometimes colonists can get hostile immediately after acceptance. And that is very, very unpleasant, as it endangers the gate guards and everyone in the colony, as my people are not big fighters, unfortunately. Collect the berries. So, yeah. And the gate is the most important building that guards the territory. So if you have an attack of bandits, for example, the amount of gatekeepers is crucial. The more gatekeepers, the better. Maximum is 4, but at this level of development it's only 2. And whoa, what a battle with deers. You see our warrior is taking damage. Okay, fine. Done. Go back to collecting berries. You too. Now I sent my colonies to build the water wells, but of course they're building shelters. To hell with my orders, they say. To hell with your nonsensical vision of our colony. We have our own stuff to take care of. We need more shelters because there are more people in the colony. So let's build one. Insufficient materials. I wonder what materials are insufficient. So one more road. What is lacking? Concrete. That's concrete that's lacking. Terrible news. So I'm going to send Bishop to the world map and introduce you to the concept of the world map. So here is world map. That is kind of like in Civilization. Inside you're building your city, or maybe like in Rome Total War rather. And outside the city you are exploring the lands. It's also limited to this nice rectangular or maybe square. That's another wish. I never have a map of this place. That's very confusing sometimes to locate your own city. But here we go. It's right in the middle, but as soon as you explore, this gray area disappears, turns into land. Land contains resources in forms of sites. Sites sometimes are unguarded and safe, but mostly they are hazardous, meaning they deal damage to a specialist on turn-based mechanics, like this one that I told you about. And, well, when it is guarded, there is a bandit who is protecting the place. When we meet the bandit, I'll tell you about the old mechanics and the new mechanics, which is, well, the new one is now kinda criticized by the users on Steam. And our scientist is very efficient exactly with science locations, like this museum. So we'll send him here, and in 2 turns he'll give us some research boost. Fighters are good to fight bandits, obviously. Scavengers are good to well, extract resources from such locations. And scouts, I don't remember what's special about scout, unfortunately. I'll check it when we have a scout in our colony. Now, what's the next step? We are waiting for our specialists to complete to finish the berry collection, or actually no, we'll send them to collect concrete, because concrete is, as you see, very, very necessary now. Can I build something? No, I think I cannot build anything very useful. I might build the forester, but at the same time it's impossible because we don't have concrete, and we have 3 more buildings pending because of that, so it will just busy our construction line, but won't be finished whatever I do. Oh, by the way, we need to surround our what's that? Forester, I think it is. No, it's the one who produces logs, so it's logging camp. Let's have road here to make it neat, to make it look neat. So far, so good. Hopefully no catastrophe befalls us, but I cannot be sure. I'm actually sure it will befall us, just in a couple of days. Might involve winter. Very high chance it will involve winter, meaning that we have to create a burner here, for example. 1 burner and 1 here. They're temporary, and also I don't have resources for them too, and let's set them on low because, well, who knows how it will end up. Now, logging camp is to be built because I want to start preparing logs. I don't think 30 will be enough for the winter. I'm not sure, but I have a suspicion it's not enough. The reason why I don't have concrete is because I spent a big part of it on constructing wells, which are very concrete. Was that hungry? Another concrete pile to be scavenged. I want to finish all the buildings and I'm sorry, and then I think I'll call it a stream for now. Well, if nobody comes to watch. And yeah, also you see the plastic is running low already, and metal I assume is running low too. Yeah, 35 units only. Plastic is going to finish deplete faster, of course. Why is the warehouse empty? How is that? Because I have no, well, important stuff to store there, I guess. Alright. You might think that these 9 carriers are, well, not very important for the colony, but I have arrived at the conclusion that if there is something important about the colony, it's carriers, because on them depends how fast resources are to be delivered, and roads are built, and buildings constructed, and well, a lot of other stuff to take care of. And if you have like 1 or 2 carriers only, that's a very bad situation for you, and usually it finishes not well. A lot of processes are just on halt, and nothing is progressing. So yeah. Look, we almost have our 3rd emergency shelter. We have 2 already, meaning that only 8 people are homeless. So with the completion of this one, which only lacks 1 block, nobody doesn't lack anymore. Yeah, so the constructions have begun thanks to our tireless specialists who are supplying the colony with concrete. The forest logging camp is also on the way to stockpile our logs, and burners, well, we'll get the concrete soon. Yeah, everything seems to be in good order. Specialist ready to go. That means that we have some science points. So I might get some plastic, I might get some meat, but I don't want to, because the only thing I'm concerned about now is exactly precious science points. Nothing else worries me, because science points will deplete rapidly, and don't want that to happen. What to explore first? I'd say maybe crowbars to get faster production of metal and plastic. That will speed up my, well, building rate and stuff like that. So that facilitates our expansion. I think, need to progress with my road further to the top, but the road hasn't yet been built completely. That means that people are still busy with that. Logging camp. Do I need 2 people visit here? I think I do, because logs, as I told you, never ever lose their relevance. What's happened with 5 firewood? Okay, they put it here. All my people are, well, they have some place to sleep in. You see a group of bandits approaching. This is never good. You see it's already the first the first enemy to attack us. I'd like to, I think, send my specialists to the gate, because now I'm going to engage into a battle, which I cannot save the game. Right, God, so I'm more than ready. And that's the fight mechanics, so they are continuously shooting at my gate shoots back. And usually it's like steadily decreasing the health of my gate, while the raiders suffer big damage as a lump of their health. And there is only one strike left to win the battle, to beat the raiders, and I think I'm going to be successful. Sometimes the overall process is strange, and the gate gets demolished, and I don't follow occasionally what the situation is with that. My specialists refuse to take care of the gate, interestingly. I don't know, in past, in the previous patch, one of them at least would have engaged with the repair process. This time it's strangely not happening. Look, our road is complete almost, so it means that we can proceed with its construction. For example, to the point where the berries are blocking, and for example, take a turn here. Why cannot I? Because there is pollution. Pollution is, of course, a problem. Well, what else can I do? I don't know. I don't know yet in what direction I'm going to be developing. Where are my specialists? What are they doing? They're collecting concrete from here, right? Yes. Right. Ah, I also don't have planks. That's even a bigger issue, because wood is as much important as anything else, but we'll take care of that next time. Look at this crowd of cheerful builders. What a show. So let's save the game at this point. It's bonfire, save, confirm, and I think that's it. Thank you very much for watching. It is day 14 of Surviving the Aftermath, and see you during our next streams. Hello to YouTube. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.